Cool. We'll just give it another minute and then let the rest of the people tune in.
Okay, good.
Cool. You're the first person all week, Mark, actually, to use the chat to say hi to people.
Well, I suppose people can see me, right? But I thought I'll just double check in case. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro. There we go. Excellent. Cool. Yeah, we'll kick off. Thank you very much, Mark, for obviously giving your time this afternoon to come and talk to us about top tips, video, marketing and all that kind of stuff. And thank you for attending these delegates. I know it's a Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, the sun's shining, and I'm sure you might want to be doing other things, but you've taken the time to come and get involved, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Please do join us at 4 o'clock where we're doing a kind of end of digital U pub quiz, hide fun, just to meet some other people as well. Mark is a fantastic guy. Can't speak highly enough of him. He's, I suppose, one of the things you might not know about him. He's also an author as well as a video guy. Use that. And he's been a massive supporter of our Fashion Fiesta charity show for a number of years and been involved in our events. So would not recommend him. Couldn't recommend him highly enough. Top guy. I'm going to hand over now. After that big up, you're going to have to deliver a fantastic presentation now. Yeah, over to Mark.
Okay. All right. So can everybody hear me, do you think, Chris, or shall I assume they can?
Yeah, this should be fine.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Chris. I do appreciate it. I love everything you're doing, and I appreciate the opportunity to deliver my first webinar, actually. So my name's Mark Currie from Catapult Films, and we're a video and film production company based in Otley, near Leeds. I'm going to show you the best ways to differentiate your business in the marketplace using the exciting potential of film. I'll take you through, I thought I'd take you through the filmmaking process as well, for those that don't know that much about it, and I'll give you my top 7 tips for creating promotional film for your business. I'm going to tell a story or two along the way and show you some video examples as well. So I hope this is going to be useful. If I don't cover everything that you want me to cover, please contact me privately or ask a question at the end, because I'm anticipating this to be about 30 minutes if it all goes to plan. And so I thought, by way of introduction, I thought I'd show you a flavour of the sort of work I do. With all the video that I'm going to share, you'll notice a little bit of lagging, a video lagging on the playback, which is unfortunate, but more to do with Zoom than the actual film content itself. So please bear with me on that. I'm going to recap all the tips and everything at the end. So I don't think you really need to take any notes. I'm going to share this view of me when I'm talking, and then when I share my video content, I'm going to share the screen. So without further ado, I'm going to attempt to do that now. I'll just give you a little bit of flavour of video and film as I see it. In 2020, people are watching more film and video content than ever before. I'm sure you're not surprised by that. Film's engaging, it can bring your brand to life, whatever business you're in. It can help establish, support and increase your brand awareness too. If you have a website, then obviously I'd suggest you have a video on it, because adding film to your web landing page typically increases conversion rates by about 80%. And if you have a video, as well as using it on your website, you can share it on all kinds of media channels such as YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. You could share video via email or as part of a marketing campaign. You can show your next door neighbour something on your laptop and share the same video on your smartphone to people on the other side of the world. It's truly incredible, I think. And according to various sources, film and video attracts 300% more traffic than other content and is shared 1,200% more than other content on social media. And social media posts with video content get 48% more views than those without them. So content marketing is on the rise with film and video number one. So using it to help your business is a must, in my view. A little bit of background, briefly. I started my working life as an art director in London, working for advertising and design agencies. So first and foremost, I was employed to come up with good ideas, mainly for national and international TV commercials. So everything that I'm going to share with you today emanates from that grounding, if you like, obviously with a big nod to progress and the digital world that we know today. I once helped to create a TV commercial called Frog Shoe Shine, but I doubt whether anybody's ever heard of it. There's a good reason for that, and I'm going to tell you why not. A good number of years ago, a very successful German company called Werner and Merz planned to launch one of their products into the UK, Frog Shoe Shine. At the time, it was a completely new type of shoe polish based on wax that negated the need for hard graft and polishing. I was working for the advertising agency in London that Werner and Merz had decided to give the business to. And my creative partner, Martin, and I were introduced to our client, a really lovely German guy. And we took a fairly comprehensive brief directly from him and went away to give some creative thought to how we might bring the product to life. And it was evident from the brief that Werner and Merz had done their homework, as you probably expect from a big company, and they had a very clear idea who they were aiming the TV commercial at and what their message was to their target market. Which leads me into my first top tip when creating a film or video for your business. Tip number one is know your target audience. Every company, product or service should have a clear brand proposition and have a good idea where they're likely to get their business from. So if you want to create a film video to market your product, business or service, first be clear on why you need a video, where it's going to be used, who you want to view it, and what you want to say, and what you expect it to achieve as well. It's all about empathy. This is really important. Get inside the minds of those you're targeting. Try to understand them as best you can. And that might mean do the research first. And actually, you can use film to help with that learning process. Last year, I produced a VoxBox style video on behalf of Greggs, which meant wandering the streets of Guiseley with the director from the company. And we were asking people what they thought of Greggs. We got some very enlightening and entertaining results, which I'll share with you.
I don't think we've ever had a Greggs, have we, in Guiseley?
No, it's just wrong, isn't it?
They've got one in Eden, haven't they?
Yeah, I've been in one in Otley.
It's a household name, and everyone knows Greggs.
Everybody knows Greggs.
You have to basically go into it. You can't go past it.
It's a great idea. I love Greggs.
I'd say we haven't got a bakery in Guiseley, so we need one.
If the people of Guiseley want them, they should ask Greggs and say, here's an opportunity for you.
My kids love Greggs. We've got shares in Greggs.
I just love Greggs. The people are nice. Food is even better.
I think a Greggs would do really well in Guiseley. I'm a big fan myself of the vegan sausage roll.
Can't beat a sausage roll, can you?
Also the beef pasties as well.
The sandwiches, good quality.
The tasty.
Nice warm food with like a soft drink.
I like salads.
I like the tuna crunches to do.
For me, it'd have to be a nice iced finger.
Well, I might have once.
Belgian buns.
I like the cornflakes and chocolate things.
Get a cup of tea there.
Bacon butter in a coffee, £2. Can't go wrong, can you?
I love everything about Greggs.
It's all good.
Oh, a good smell of something savoury.
I think that we definitely need a Greggs. Absolutely, Guiseley needs a Greggs.
I think every town needs a Greggs, especially Guiseley.
We need one everywhere, every corner, every place.
Bring it on.
So that was Greggs, and I think if you're serious about your business, you can wander around the streets of wherever you live, and maybe pick up some information and just filming and talking to people yourself. Obviously, you don't need to use film. Moving on, because we're living in an age where everyone's attention span is short, a film and video needs to work quickly or you'll lose your audience. We're all constantly being bombarded with messages all the time, TV, on your phone, watching YouTube and other social media. So it's important to get noticed. So here's my second tip. Tip number 2, have a clear message for your audience. Just like a TV ad, it should communicate the benefits of a product or service and give them a reason why they should choose you or your business over anyone else. In all cases, film and video needs to grab and then retain the viewer's attention. So it should be different, whatever you do, but obviously relevant to the key persuasive message that you're hoping to engage people with. So spending some time considering the type of film or video you want is important before launching into production. Even if you're planning on doing the filming yourself on a smartphone. What's right for you depends entirely on the business you have, of course. Do you want to create a film where you're giving thought leader type advice? The sort of film you see a lot on LinkedIn, you can obviously create those kind of films on your smartphone quite easily. Or do you want a film that highlights your company brand values? Or maybe it's an internal film to help educate your staff. Maybe you need to explain how a product works. If so, a demonstration film is great. And you can use that kind of film maybe as an aid to selling products. And should the video be created using film? Or should it be animated? Animation in its many forms is often a great way of simply explaining a complicated subject matter or a sensitive subject matter. So whatever the film, the right film should be an extension of your brand personality. And if your brand has a recognized identity, then obviously be sure to reflect that in the film by using your brand colors, logos, fonts, and your tone of voice. When I launched my own company, Catapult Films, in 2010, I actually had no direct clients of my own. It was a leap of faith. And aside from a show reel of TV commercials from my advertising days, I didn't have any promotional films at all to show people and persuade people that I knew what I was doing. So I thought, well, I better create one. So I'll share that one with you. It's very short, this one. Maybe you can work out how I've done it as well, perhaps. So that I created, to launch my own business. And just to remind you that if you are getting a significant lagging watching any of these films, I'm going to share after this presentation. I'll share all my links for anybody that wants to see them in real time, so to speak. So moving on again. And back in the world of frog shoe shine. My job and that of my creative partner Martin at the time was to find an interesting and engaging way of presenting its simple and clear proposition. which was a new way of cleaning shoes without the hassle. We wrote a script and drew up a storyboard to help explain our idea and to get the client's approval, which is normal in agency worlds. So here's my tip number 3. Tip number 3 is write a script. Every successful film has a script or a creative treatment ahead of any filming, sometimes a storyboard. This is time really well spent. Having something written down and agreed gives you and everybody else associated with the production a point of reference, a guide to the content and the story, and the aim of the film. Even if you're planning to create a testimonial video or a series of testimonials, which by their very nature should feel, excuse me, spontaneous and unscripted, a guide or knowledge to the content beforehand and having an aim is key to the film success of the film or video, in my view. So here's an example of some testimonials I got on behalf of a company called Charlie Bears, who create amazing collectible teddy bears, by the way. So check them out. They're really amazing if you like that sort of thing. And they wanted to evidence the potential of their brand to prospective retailers that then hopefully would stock their teddy bears. So let me show you a flavour of that.
Charlie Bears, they're just so unique. If you build up a good rapport with your customer, they're coming back forever and ever.
Even though a bear's 60 or 70 pounds, they can't get over the quality of it.
We knew it was a strong brand, genuinely, but they've sold amazingly well.
I've got well over 100, all stuffed in the bedroom, so you cannot move for a bear. And every time I come out, I see another one I want.
The friendliness and the enthusiasm of the Charlie Bear collector makes it an easy sale. They know that they're buying into quality, we know we're selling quality.
It's something about Charlie Bears, it's just, it can't be compared to other brands.
It's well made, it's well price pointed, it does everything on the label that it's meant to do as a bear and a bear brand and as a gift.
I've just had the update on the figures, I'm up 242% in a year.
It's in our top 10 every week.
I would defy anybody to say you could not find a Charlie Bears that you like. In fact, there's one called Big Fella, and in all honesty, I wouldn't mind that in my bed at night.
That last comment in particular always makes me smile. I know that a lot of work went into the finding of the right people to talk on behalf of Charlie Bears. So that's another important point when you're thinking of asking somebody to give you a testimonial, for example. If you ask them first the likely things that they might say, then I think that as a collective, if you're doing several testimonials in one video, then you can get a really powerful result for your organisation. So video testimonials are a great idea. So moving on again, and assuming you're not creating an animated film, when it comes to filming, if it is a film-based video, then capturing as much of the process or the event as possible is key, and that's my next tip. Tip number 4 is film lots of footage. You can never have too much. If you're creating a behind-the-scenes look at your organisation, for example, you might need to film all the key members of staff talking on camera, and these talking heads type films can often tell a powerful story for your brand, just like the ones I've given you an example of from Charlie Bears, and more so if you factor in the filming of your clients too, because they can make your message sound more believable. And if you're and as well as filming on people on camera, it's a good idea to shoot plenty of general images of people at work. So the process that you're trying to bring to life, for example, and if somebody's talking about how a machine works or a process and the benefits, then you'll need to see all that in action. So film lots and film things from different angles as well, because that will make the finished film look more interesting. So here's an example of what I mean. This was a film that was created 2018, I think.
You can't really be in this landscape without seeing witches everywhere. The legend and the folklore of the witches is still very powerful in these parts. so I decided, alongside John Clayton, the local historian and author, to restart the witch hunt for Malkin Tower, which has been lost for 400 years.
This dig is part of our community archaeology project, and we're working with consultants from Northern Archaeological Associates.
The project in essence is to see if we can discover where one of the people that are alleged to be a witch live. One of the Demdikes, one of the famous witches in the witchcraft story. We're hoping to find the evidence of the house and artifacts from that period and begin to understand the material culture of the time period.
Well, my role has basically been to oversee the students working. I'm there to field questions on what people may have found or how best to approach the next stage of digging.
So we're on our hands or knees with our trowels, and we use that to scrape off that topsoil, loosen it up, and we try to be very careful so that if we run into any artifacts like pottery or the broken pipes, that we won't break them.
We know there's things here. We don't know necessarily what they are or how old they are, but we know there are archaeological features in this field.
So that's a good example, I think, of initially what I did was I captured people talking on the camera, and then I wandered around and filmed people at work, and obviously with an eye especially on the people that I had interviewed, so that I could then illustrate their points by seeing them doing what they were doing. So that's capturing all the footage and getting lots of interesting stuff visually. But as well as seeing a process or product in use, obviously you want to hear about it too. And the sound and vision are inextricably linked, of course they are. But tip number 5 is consider carefully the power of sound and music in whatever film it is you're going to put together. If you don't have a voiceover or a soundtrack of some kind, you're wasting 50% of the medium. There are exceptions, of course. For example, when you know the film has to be silent or it's going to be shown using subtitles, or you might actually create a film to utilize silence for creative effect. But generally speaking, though, sound can add a tremendous amount. Often before filming, I record a demo track to help give me a feel for the correct timings for shots, knowing that the demo track, of course, will be re-recorded later, often using a professional voiceover artist. So going back in time again, when we recorded a voiceover for Frog Shoeshine, something I will show you at the end, we wanted a voice of experience, a voice that could be trusted, and we found a guy called Arthur Marshall, MBE, who was sadly has passed away now, but probably most famous at the time as a team captain on the BBC programme called My Bluff. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that is going back some way. And his old honeycomb type of voice was just about perfect, really, for Frog. So my point is, think carefully about the right voice for your business. Now, it might be you, of course, but if somebody else in your organisation's got a better voice, then you could consider using that. And another important aspect of sound in most films is music, which, in my view, really enhances a film's overall production values, and as well gives your message a huge kind of what might seem a little bit kind of odd, I'm going to show you 2 versions of the same film, where one piece of music, one of the versions of the film rather, has the music stripped out, and then a second version with the music in, just so you can hear and see the difference. I'm sure you'll agree that there's only one winner.
The Bramhope Tunnel was constructed between 1845 and 1849 by a group of tough, highly trained men called navigators, or navvies as they became known.
The men were lowered by bucket or platform.
And it would be very, very dark. They were only lit by candles. And when they got down to the bottom, it'd be really dark, it'd be noisy, it'd be wet because they had a lot of trouble with water in the tunnel. It wasn't a very safe thing to do, and obviously health and safety wasn't a thing in those days.
So that's That's a very odd kind of experience for me watching that back, actually. But this is the same film that was used, but with music.
The Bramhope Tunnel was constructed between 1845 and 1849 by a group of tough, highly trained men called navigators, or navvies as they became known.
The men were lowered by bucket or platform.
And it would be very, very dark. They were only lit by candles, and when they got down to the bottom, it'd be really dark, it'd be noisy, it'd be wet because they had a lot of trouble with water in the tunnel. It wasn't a very safe thing to do, and obviously health and safety wasn't the thing in those days.
So yeah, that hopefully exemplifies the power of music, which I tend to use on all the films that I create. So once you've got all your film footage, then obviously you'll need to go through it all and select the best material for your finished film. And the editing is where it all starts to come together. There are obviously various aspects to editing, which you can consider as an aid to tell your story and to complement your film footage. For example, adding simple graphics, particularly captions, so you know who's talking on camera, for instance, simple animation, library footage, or aerial drone shots as well. These are not necessarily expensive additions, but they'll make your film look more impressive. And if you're filming yourself on a smartphone, there are actually some great editing tools, such as InShot, that you can download and use for free. So if you're doing something yourself, I think just using something like InShot could probably give you a little bit more of a professional look to something. However, my top tip when editing is this. Tip number 6 is create various film edits, not just one. At the outset, a lot of clients that I come across only want one film, or they may think they do, which is fine, of course. However, you're most likely going to have lots of great footage, so it's worth considering creating films, edits of different lengths for different uses. So you might have one for your company website, which might be the original intention, of course, or a longer, more in-depth version offering extra insight, and maybe a shorter one for social media channels such as LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Or why not create several slightly different, shorter films and roll them out throughout the year to maintain and maximize your marketing presence. And so yeah, that's all. That's my top tip when it comes to editing. And then finally, going back to Frog Shoe Shine, the client, advertising agency and production company had all invested a lot of time and money producing a TV commercial. And my partner and I had finally achieved our goal of creating our very first TV commercial, which at the time was a really big deal for us because we seemed to have lots of issues getting one out, and we've been plagued with things going wrong and all sorts of stuff. And I still remember being in the editing suite somewhere in London and turning to Martin and with a big smile on my face saying, what could go wrong now? Well, the commercial did air perhaps once, I think, but then it got pulled as it transpired that the product had no distribution in the UK, which was out of our control, of course. So there was nowhere in the UK for people to buy the product. Sadly, but not surprisingly, our nice German client got sacked, which brings me to my final top tip. Tip number 7, plan beforehand how you're going to use your film. Once it's been created, will your film help point customers back to your website via social media? Will it be used to train up your staff? Will it be used to help sell more products? If the latter, then obviously please make sure you've got the means to supply what you're selling. Done well, a film and video, it should set you apart from all your competition. It should help you reach a wider audience, of course, maybe increase sales and certainly encourage happy customers to come back to you. And lastly, in case you're wondering what it looked like back then, here's a glimpse of what should have been the start of a long-running campaign for Prog Shoe Shine. The picture quality isn't the best, as unfortunately I don't have an original recording, but you might note the old TV format, the days before widescreen.
A certain gentleman has polished his shoes diligently for the past 55 years. All attempts to bring to his attention the excellent and enduring beeswax shine imparted by Frog Shoe Shine have fallen upon deaf ears. Consequently, our gentleman friend continues to spend needless hours on a task that could be performed in seconds. Frog Shoe Shine, the new-fangled way to an old-fashioned shine.
There you go. So that's Frog Shoe Shine, and I just thought I'd put up my top 7 tips when creating a promotional film for your business. Number 1, know your target audience. Number 2, have a clear message to grab attention. Write a script, film lots of footage, consider sound and music, create various film edits and not just one, and know how best to use your film once it's complete. So that's pretty much my kind of presentation. I hope I've covered things that are of interest for people. If anybody who has any questions now, or if they want to contact me personally afterwards, that's fine. So, do you want to take over, Chris, or what do you think? What are we doing now?
I'm just going to piggyback onto the back of it. Yeah, no, really, really useful, Mark. At this point, I'd encourage delegates and attendees and people tuning in to ask questions. You can ask via Facebook Live, or type into the chat via Zoom, or even use the Q&A function. Please take this opportunity to ask the expert while he's here, and Mark can be more than happy to help. Some useful feedback from there.
Can you not call me an expert? I don't like the word expert. I'm kind of good at what I do. I like to think that, but it's a funny word, expert, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's overused. It could be a guru instead. How about guru?
No.
It's even worse.
I'm leaving through that back door in a minute. If you call me a guru.
He's all right. He's all right. He's all right.
I'm not too bad. That's it.
Not
I'm not too bad. Yeah.
Bit Yorker in there. Yeah, no, personally, Mark, thank you. I found that really, really insightful from my perspective. The bit, yeah, you reminded me when you showed the last video, the old videos and adverts that used to be on TV as a kid growing up. And I remember the old Scary Clown when BBC cut off, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whenever it was. And the BBC used to shut down the Scary Clown.
Oh, yeah. The colour bars, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say, no, I wasn't comparing your video to that, but it just took my memories right back to being a kid.
Probably going back that far in time, maybe.
On a serious though, I did have a couple of questions. I suppose what would you recommend as your top 3? Well, what are your top 3 go-to pieces of software? Somebody's mentioned in chat, Audacity is good for sound.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've got any suggestion.
Are we talking about kind of smartphone territory, or are we talking?
I don't know, personal preference, personal favourites, maybe. Where would you go to?
For sound?
Yeah, well, anything. I know Photoshop's the cop out, but
yeah, I mean, I tend to film a lot of the things I film on are DSLR cameras. Actually, I've got a bigger camera sometimes, or sometimes I use freelance cameraman if I'm going to ask the questions if I'm doing an interview, for example. But if I'm filming myself, and DSLR cameras are fantastic. If I'm editing, I tend to use Final Cut Pro myself. I find that really easy. Although if you're just if you're just starting out and you've got a Mac, I mean, everything I do is Mac based. If you're using a Mac, then you can use what's it called? iMovie. Yeah, iMovie is a good way of starting to do an editing. And then, as I said to you, there are things, if you want to edit on your smartphone, which I don't tend to do. I don't edit on my smartphone, but I do. I am aware that there are good editing software that you can use on your smartphone to facilitate that and make you look a little bit more professional than you might otherwise be. I do use my iPhone sometimes when I am filming, especially if I've got to be quick and you know, I don't have time to kind of set focus and things like that. Sometimes if a bike's whizzing past, then it's a great way of actually grabbing something quickly and easily, you know. So and then I combine that footage with footage that I shoot on my better cameras, you know, and a lot of the time you don't notice the difference, you know. The quality on some of these smartphones now is amazing. I mean, you know, some people shoot whole films on them, so you know, there's a good endorsement really of what you can use the technology that's available to you quite well if you've got a good eye for things. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question actually, but
yeah, no, it's good. It's good just to get an insight into how you kind of think and how you work with stuff and how you know how you approach things. I
would say one thing, when you are putting a video together, I think it is quite easy to get good pictures, good quality pictures, but not sound is a bit different. I think you know, when I first started doing things myself and filming myself, I've kind of fell foul to not having the right audio kit. And if you've not got good sound, then actually the whole thing kind of falls down quite a lot. So I have got some good sound kit that I tend to wander around with.
Yeah, so yeah,
it's worth investing in. Sound is worth investing in. And again, you can get some good things that can complement your smartphone if that's the basic putting a film together.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you. I won't name the person. Someone's sent a private message in the chat. An expert is a has been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure.
Now, what am I supposed to make of that?
Yeah, no, it's just I agree. I don't like the word either. Great tips though, and thank you very much and great videos. So,
okay, all right.
Very useful. Can't see any other questions coming in.
Okay.
Come on, audience, ask a question. Let's just have a quick look on here. Nope. Let's cover everything too well, Mark.
I've got all the right questions. I don't like being put on the spot necessarily, but if somebody wants to ask me, you know, get in touch with me directly for whatever reason, then I'm more than happy to help anybody. Chat through on the phone, give them advice, help them do their own film if they want. Yeah, more than happy with that.
Do get in touch, guys. If you sat there thinking, right, I want to, you know, add to my business. I want to add some value, and I want to, you know, do something a little bit different. Do get in touch with Mark. Like I said, good guy. I did drop the link into the Fashion Fiesta video in the chat as well, Mark, while you were talking away about music with video. Because that's I really like the use of music with that video you did back in 2018. Yes, that was cool. And a great video. Well, that's it. If you want anything, need any help, you've got Mark's email address there, mark@catapultfilms.co.uk. That's it from me. Join us in the quiz at 4 o'clock if you can. I'll just quickly drop that information in the chat. And then anything to close from you, Mark? Any closing statements or?
No, not really. Yeah, just use video. You know, even if you don't engage with a professional person, you know, just do it. Just start sharing stuff. But you know, I think it's important to think about it all first, because you know, if you put a film out yourself for your own business, then you know, you want to come across as a professional, knowledgeable organisation, don't you? So do it right. Yeah.
Do it right. Do it brilliant. Right. There's your slogan. Cheers, Mark. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.